Hello there. So today what we're going to do is we are going to take a look at the basic operation of the ForgeMillZ VTT. VTT stands for Virtual Tabletop Software. So what you do to get this is if you're on my Discord, you click a link and it'll take you right over to my itch.io page. But if you go to my itch.io page, you can come here, find ForgeMillZ, and download it. Just a couple pictures there to show you kind of what it is. So once you've got that downloaded, you've got a zip file. So you simply extract that to your preferred location. Alright, and then once that's done, you simply come into here. It's in a parent folder, but I'm just going to go cut, paste. Then I've got a shortcut here, ForgeMillZ VTT, copy, paste. Now it probably won't work by default, so I need to go Browse, then Desktop, then simply go ForgeMillZ VTT, scroll down to this file here, ForgeMillZ and hit Open. And it's going to open the program for you. The other thing you can do is come down to Properties, then change icon. Can't find it because it's looking for my development path, which is not on this machine. We just go Browse, again Desktop, again VTT, and then we just find this little icon right here. So logo.icon, open, OK, apply. There we go. Now you've got the ForgeMillZ VTT. So now we'll open the program and we'll get started. So as soon as it opens, what you see is just this simple basic editor. And in this editor, you can, take a sip of my coffee, File, New Module, New Map, Save Map, Delete Map, Exit, right? And then you've got tools here, which there's a whole bunch of tools. Once we're in a map, I'll show you how those work. But then once you've created a module, you could select a module. So I've got Gravity of the Iron Hills, and I've got a default maps folder, and then you can select a map. There's nothing in the default maps folder. I'll open Gravity of the Iron Hills though, and then I'll go open Homestead. So now you'll have those, because I wanted to give you some samples using the sample art. So what you'll see now is you'll see this grid overlay. And so what this is this map has been made to fit, or this program has been made to fit modern flat screen TVs, because this is designed to be playing basically on a sheet of plexiglass on top of a flat screen TV embedded in a table. And this is basically your dungeon map making software for classic Dungeons and Dragons or any other tabletop game that you want. Now what this does not have dice rollers. This does not have monster stats tracking or anything like that. This is simply for map design. The reason I went this way is because a lot of the VTT engines that are out there right now have become so complicated that are you really playing a tabletop game anymore? Or are you playing an RPG experience with, figures on top? So, and a lot of them even have digital markers now, so that you don't even have like the classic plastic or pewter figures or lead figures if you're that old. And I wanted to make sure that this tailored to the people that still used figures and still rolled dice and still read the books and used the Dungeon Master screens. That's what this is designed for. This is designed for making maps and only making maps. That's it. It's basically a digital map board. So, with that out of the way, when you hit play mode, the cursor goes away. So it's just a little hand cursor now, but it full screens, and basically you've got your 1 inch by 1 inch grids that will show up on your screen. So this is being displayed right now on a 27-inch monitor, and this map is designed for like a 43-inch screen. So on my particular screen, the grid is only showing at about a half an inch, but that should scale really well for like a full size of 43-inch or bigger, and then you could choose the different maps, right? So we've got this map here, and you can see there's fire going on here. There's some particles, some smoke coming out of the chimney. Your trees are moving back and forth, and you've got a little bit of shallow water and deep water and rippling, and then a bunch of things planted. So basically I'm going to show you how to build that. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go out of play mode. Oh, and you could toggle on and off the grid too. And then there's a save button. But what we're going to do now is we're going to create a new map. So what I want to do here, so we're on the homestead map, but we're going to go File, New Map. All right, and we're going to call this one Towards the Hills. And then down here, what you see is the TV size. So are we building for a 50-inch TV? Are we building for a 60, a 42, or a 70? And then it builds this grid size based on those grids being very close to 1 inch for that size of TV that you're embedding in, right? So we're just going to go, I'm just going to go with a 42, 36 by 20, 1080p. You can go 1080p or 4K. You can change whatever resolution so that it scales properly. I'm just doing 1080p because that's most people are going to just have cheap TVs and run at that type of resolution, especially at a 42 size. So I'm going to create that map now. So now I've got an empty map. Let's just make that a little bigger. Tools. So now what I want to do is you want to start by painting the ground, right? So what we're going to do is I'm just going to take this simple paintbrush here, and I'm including these are all terrains that I've built. These are all terrain panels that I've built, and so I'm including them in the software for you, but you can add more simply by dropping them into the file locations, and I'll show you that shortly. So I'm just going to go big, and pressure's fine. Actually, I'll put pressure all the way up. And I'm just going to paint and just let it tile. There we go. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply take some normal grass here, turn the pressure down, the size down, turn the pressure down. Just throw a few little spots here and there, just to mix up the terrain, right? And this is just a path to the hills, so we don't need to get too crazy with it. But maybe what I will do is I will add a little bit of dirt, turn the size down a little smaller, turn the pressure way down. Just so that as you're getting towards the end of this map, you can see that the terrain is changing. Now I'm going to save that map. Okay, so now what I want to do now is I want to go back to the homestead map. So the water's not coming off, we're going on to this stuff. So what I want to do is put a little bit of that stuff on the other map. So I can go back towards the hills, And then that one would be, what did I use for that? Probably this, I'm thinking, or this maybe? Oh. There we go. And I want this back again over here. I want to go all the way up here. Okay, now I'm going to bring that down. There we go. We got a pretty good transition there. Save that map again. Okay, so good enough. We've got a nice base. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go here. And now we're going to, do we want to paint water, make a little creek or something? No, but I'll show you how to do it anyway. So what we'll do is we'll take maybe this. We'll just take normal water. Turn the size down. Leave the pressure like that. Ripple's fine. I'm not going to mess with that. And then I'm just going to do a little creek. Maybe we'll just go like this. There we go. We got a little creek. Nothing special there. But what I'm going to do now is turn the size up. Turn the pressure way down. Size up a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. Might be a little hard for you to see that because what happens is the ring also changes its gradient, the brush outline, and so that is a little harder to see that. But if I change the pressure back up again, you'll see that the ring is, oh, that's the size, sorry. Turn the pressure back up again, you'll see it's like super solid now. And then turn it down halfway, you'll see it's halfway. Turn it down all the way, and you'll see it's very faint. So the ring indicates the actual pressure of the brush for you as well. So there's just a little bit of faint water there. I could go back and put some gravel down underneath the creek bed. Why don't I do that? We'll just go back here to paint ground. Okay, we're just going to save though. And then I'm going to find a gravel. Don't want that gravel. Let's go with that gravel, I guess. And then size a little bigger, pressure's low. Bring the pressure up a bit more. Sure. There we go. So there, we've got a little creek bed in there. So that looks all right. So now what we want to do is we want to paint some ground cover. What do we want? All I've got is some there you go. Just some leaves and stuff. You can add more things there. I just wanted to give you a little bit of something to make your map look pretty. Oh, sorry. Save again. Edit tools. Paint plants. Let's throw a few of these in. One there. Put that along there. Put that along there. That one. Change the size on it. It's that size on it. Make it smaller. There we go. Good enough. Save. We painted some plants. Now we want to come over here to paint objects. Do we want anything painted in here? Well, we'll put a rock in here just to show you a rock. We could put a signpost or something saying this way to wherever, but I'm going to take this clump of rocks, and now you can see the size. I can make it a giant frickin' clump in the middle of the landscape. People got to go around. I can make it a tiny little clump in the middle of nowhere just to dress it up. I'm going to go here. You can also change the tint on these a bit. So, say I want it to be just a little more brownish. A little more of a deserty color. Sure, something like that. Alright, there. Let's go there. Okay. And then we'll just put this little outcrop. We'll put it here as we're leaving that area. There we go. No, it's actually too much. I added too much tint. There we go, that's better. Maybe just a little bit more. Sure. There you go. So you can see, you can play around with that and you can totally customize whatever you want. Save. You need to go back to Edit Tools. I need to delete object. And then this is just like a sort of a paintbrush area. Delete that object because I didn't like it. There we go. Perfect. Save. Back into Editing Tools. And now we're on to paint trees. So what you can do with your trees is, I'm just going to put some of these trees in place here. I'm going to make it a little smaller. You can turn the wind on, left to right, top to bottom, whatever you want. How much it's going to sway, I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. And you can also tint your trees if you want to make them a different color. Make that tree a little smaller. That one a little bigger. Make this one a little bigger yet again. Yeah, too big. Yeah, maybe we'll go between those two instead. A little bit bigger. Yeah, looks better. There we go. There we go. Now we got some trees. Okay. Save. Alright. So now, paint buildings. So we can put a building in here if we want. I want to put a house or something in, not really. But, well, what about a little merchant stand? We could put a little merchant stand in. Now that's pretty small. It's only twice the size of a player character token. Takes up basically a 1 inch by 1 inch thing. So what we're going to want to do is we just want to go a little bigger there. That's 3, almost 3. Let's go just a little bigger. A little bigger yet again. Yeah, that's probably the size we want. So we got this little shop we're going to put in the middle of nowhere here. And we don't need to change the tint or nothing. You have to turn that off. Sorry, my wife was coming or phoning me. All right, there. I've placed that. Now the last tool is paint effects. So with effects, what you can do is this is basically you've got a brush size, scale, opacity, amount. You can also enable fire on the map in paint zones, rain, fog, smoke, etc. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to add some rain, and then scale of the rain is fine, opacity's fine, amount, gravity. Do I want to color the rain? Sure. Let's color the rain. We're going to make it a deeper blue. All right. Save. Perfect. Now we're going to enter play mode. And I don't know if you can see that, I'll exit play mode, go back into my effects. I should make it much more prominent, fully opaque, add lots of it. Gravity changes the speed of the rain. There, I've made it super solid blue. So now we're going to go into play mode, and I'm just going to turn the grid off, and you should be able to see that rain pretty good coming down. Turn the grid back on and hit save. So there you go. So now, as a dungeon master, you would come here, you would open, your modules are all loaded with the maps to begin with, so you just open the program, and then what you do is you just go into play mode. So there, you're on Homestead 1, you set up your campaign, your characters are there, you're all chatting around the fire or something down below. Okay, what do you guys want to do? All right, well, we need to head off towards the hills. So let's head off towards the hills. All right, cool. Once I get to the leaving the house and got organized, you then hit change the map to the hills. Okay, we're on the hills. Oh, there's a vendor thing here. Okay, well, let's go over here and talk to the vendor. Then the DM can say, hey, there's a store. This guy's offering this, whatever. Or maybe the vendor thing's under attack and there's like some goblins or some wolves or something attacking the vendor. And the characters need to help him or whatever. And then if you've got another map, I'm just going to go back to Homestead 1. Once you get over to here, you go to the next map. So you can see how this is incredibly fast to build a map. And this is incredibly quick for the dungeon master to be able to change between maps. And then everything works just perfectly for you. So on that note, I'm going to leave it here because I've gone over the VTT tools and you can find them on my itch.io site. And the only thing left to do in another video is I will create some artwork and I will show you how to upload your custom artwork into the program. But for now, that's everything. So have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.